Hello, everyone. This tip is for local SEO. Let's talk about how I got the green arrows so that you can do it too. So if you have a site, maybe you're in second or third position, or you just need to go up a little bit in rankings, or the site just needs to rank better, this video is for you. So for once, I'm not going to go on and on about on page. I'm not going to talk about off page. Let's talk about client reviews. But first, let me give you a little bit of background about the site that has the green arrow. So this site is an older site. It has not been touched. I have not updated the on page or the off page for over 4 years. And rankings were starting to slide through the years little by little. It's just a site that got neglected, which makes a prime opportunity to test out new ideas or even old ideas, as in this particular case. So this site, like I said, was older. It was starting to go down in rankings. I haven't touched on page. I haven't touched off page. Instead, we decided to drip in client reviews. Now, before you roll your eyes and say, I already know about client reviews, let's talk about it a little bit, because this is something that we don't really talk about in the SEO groups. We talk about on page, we talk about off page, but we don't talk about the little elements on the side that help you pack a punch to gain rankings. So moving forward, I'm going to talk about what I did to the rankings to see the green arrows and what you can do to help your SEO campaigns as well. So let's just jump right in. Whenever you talk to SEOs, they always talk about how hard it is to get reviews, and it never really seems to be a part of their overall SEO campaign. But as you can see with my image, you're missing out if you're not incorporating reviews. But it is reviews done in a very specific way, so let's talk about it. So let's say you have a client or your particular site, you need to rank better for Austin tree service, or you're in the city of Austin and you need to do better for tree service type keywords. The first thing you can do is take a look to see who is already ranking within the GMB. And how many reviews do they actually have? So let's say your site is this Austin tree service site, and you can see that they have 14 reviews. But in the first and second position, they each have 27 reviews. So you can do all of the on page and off page that you want to do, but to get the final top spots, you are going to need to increase your reviews. Now, we can take a step further and even check out the site underneath the site with the 14 reviews and see that they have 730 reviews. Now, that doesn't just throw everything I'm saying out. But what that does tell me is that this particular site, even though it has 730 reviews, there's something wrong with on page or off page, and you need to check it out further if this was your particular site. So I pulled that site up because remember, it has 730 reviews. That's a lot of reviews. This particular site does a lot of Google ads, and they do get a lot of clients because they're really good at Google ads. So they do get a lot of legitimate, good reviews. But if you take a look at their site, you can see that there are a couple of issues. Now, I didn't dive into the entire site, but you can see on their homepage, they are targeting tree trimming and tree services in Austin. And then when you click to their inner pages, you can see they're targeting tree trimming Austin and tree service Austin type keywords. So they're targeting the same keywords on multiple pages, which often leads to issues with rankings. So even though they have 730 reviews, because their on page isn't as good as it should be, they're not in first or second position. They're in they're in fourth position with 730 reviews. Now, people would take a look at that and say, oh, well, then that means reviews don't help. It doesn't matter. But actually, they do matter. And it's how you, not only what you're putting in the reviews, but it's also in combination of your overall SEO campaign. So you've got the Davy Tree Expert. They've got 27 reviews. Austin Tree Service has 27 reviews. So if this was my client, Ostex Tree Service, and they had 14 reviews, my first goal, not only with the SEO campaign, but my other goal would be, you guys have got to gain reviews so that you're at least 27 or 29 reviews, so that you're at least competing with the first and second place. Now, remember I said this is combined within your overall SEO strategy. So we're still going to have an on-page strategy, and this site could possibly need on-page changes. I don't know. I haven't really looked at it. Or there could be a big gap with their off-page. There's a gap somewhere. And it's not only with on-page and off-page, but you're also looking at how many reviews do they have and can they compete with the first and second positions. And in this particular case, they cannot. So you can change up their on page, do really good off page, but to make it easier on yourself, gain those client reviews. Now, in a minute, I'll discuss what needs to be in the client reviews. But first, let's take a look at some more SERPs and what it looks like if you were trying to figure out if you need more reviews or not. So I also pulled up Texas Tree Tree Services in Bernie. It's a city in Texas, and I just took a look. I'm just taking a quick look to see how many reviews do they have and what would you need to do. So you've got first and second position with 16 reviews. So if I had Arbor Care and Consulting as my client and they had 8 reviews, I would say, hey, we need to gain to about 18, 20 reviews so that we're competing well with first and second position. Now, if you look at the SERPs further, there's an outlier here that has 94 reviews, but he's in 4th position. What is that telling me? It's not telling you that gaining reviews is not going to work. What it's telling me is there's a disconnect or a problem with on page or a problem with off page. They either need to gain more backlinks or their on page needs to be updated so that they can compete properly. And remember, within an SEO campaign, there's lots to do with entities, topical relevance, and all of these things that we're constantly talking about. But if you combine that with reviews, you'll take the top spots a whole lot quicker and easier. So just because this person has 94 reviews, it doesn't mean that the reviews just aren't working. It's telling you that there's something wrong that you need to go in and fix that you would do with your overall SEO campaign strategy. If you were working for, or this was your site, Alvino's Landscaping and Tree Trimming Service, you can see that they have 1 review. You can also see that they don't even have a website connected to this listing. But if this was my client, I would say, all right, we have to at least compete with the 16 reviews. So you've got to gain 15, 16, 17 reviews so that you can compete and make it easier on yourself, guys. If Texas Trees was your client and they had 89 reviews, or this one that has 28 reviews, it's telling you that something's going on with on page. So if I had Texas Trees as a client, first of all, do they have a website? Because it's not connected to their Google My Business profile, otherwise known as GMB. Or if you have this other client and they had 28 reviews and they're just not doing well, that tells you that you've really got to dial in their SEO campaign. However, if you had Arbor Care, maybe their on page is really good. I haven't checked it, but with only 8 reviews, they're not going to compete well with the first and second position. So my advice is you got to gain reviews, but just gaining reviews isn't enough. What needs to be in those reviews? So what I'm saying here is client reviews needs to be part of your overall SEO campaign. What you need to put in those reviews are services that that client actually obtained from your company or your client's company. So let me break this down. If I hired a plumbing company and I had a clogged kitchen sink, I would encourage my client to leave a review with the exact service that they obtained or that they received and to mention what city they live in. Now, that client, the review would look something like, hi, my name is Lisa, or I hired XYZ company. They did really great at unclogging my kitchen sink here in Austin, something like that. Now, we can coach the clients, or not coach, but help them create good reviews. We can give them tips by saying, make sure you mention what service you received from my company and make sure you mention what city you live in. That will really help me obtaining more clients within your city, and letting them know that it will really help you. Often when you do a really good job for a client and you're saying, hey, help me with this so that I can become bigger and better in the city of Austin. They often, when they receive good services, they often want to reciprocate the favor. Now, that doesn't mean every single client you ask is going to leave a really good review. I can attest to this because you're not always going to get a great client review. You're not always going to get them to say what you're hoping they will say in the review. But if it's not part of your overall SEO campaign, you're not going to be able to take over the top spots easily. That doesn't mean somebody with a lack of reviews can never take the top spot. I'm saying make it easier on yourself. So you can study the SERPs, take a look at everything and go, oh, well, this person only has one review and look, they took first position. It can happen, but make it easier on yourself by including reviews as part of your overall SEO campaign and in that review. So each client that you give services to needs to be approached about a review. Unless it was a horrible experience for them, they should be able to leave some type of review, and you want to ask them more than once. Unfortunately, we're in a very busy season and most of us are overwhelmed and have a lot on our plates. And so if you ask for a review in person, you need to follow up and ask for a review via email or another part of your review system so that you're approaching them multiple times to give them a chance, because you can ask them one time and their life just blew up and they had to do a million tasks. They will forget. However, you don't want to hound them and ask them 10 times and make them mad, but you do want to ask them a set amount of time. You probably want to use a review platform to help you systemize this so that every client is getting the opportunity to leave a review and you're making it as easy on them as possible. And you're also helping them by saying, make sure you mention the exact services you received. So if this tree service was my client, I would want their clients to leave something like, you know, hey, Bartlett Tree Experts just removed a tree stump from my front yard and they did an amazing job with the cleanup and with everything else that goes along with that part of the service. Or they hauled off everything and my yard is beautiful. Thank you for your help. So reviews are harder to get. They're not super simple. There are multiple ways of gaining reviews. What you need to do is make sure this is part of your SEO campaign so that you can receive all of these green arrows easier. It doesn't mean that because you have a lack of reviews, you'll never take the top spot, because you'll see it out there and it's happening. But what I'm saying is make this easier on yourself. I didn't touch on page. I haven't touched off page. I haven't really done anything else. Now, in this particular case, for this particular site, we're going to continue with the review strategy and not touch on page or off page yet, just because I find this super interesting and it's not a client site. So it's a site that I can do whatever I want with, and I want to continue to follow this. Now, we did do this to multiple sites, not just one site, and across the board, there are green arrows. So if you have a site and you just can't get the green arrows, or maybe you can't take first position, or maybe you're competing against Bartlett Tree Experts and you're just not in first or second position and you want to boost your rankings, or let's say you're on the second page and you want to boost your rankings to the first page, I would include part of the review process as my overall SEO campaign. Now, I want to make one more mention. This not only moved GMB, or I'm sorry, I still call it GMB, Google My Profile. I hate when we change names to everything because it's really hard to start switching when you're speaking about the topic. But we not only saw green arrows with the actual maps listing, but we also saw green arrows within organic listings. So not only did the website move up in rankings, but the Google Maps listing also moved up in rankings. And that's without any backlinks. That's without taking a look at on-page yet. That's before you do anything else. So if you're looking for that little extra edge, let's say you've already exhausted on page, you've already exhausted off page, and you're looking for a little bit of an edge, you're going to find it in the reviews. Just make sure the client is mentioning the exact services that they are receiving in the city. That helps make your rankings move up. And I'm going to repeat myself one more time. I'm not saying only use reviews to move your rankings up. I'm saying Make this part of your overall local SEO campaign and make it easier on yourself, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video.